Hello everyone, this is Paul Perdue, and I am a nerd, as most of you know. And this is the August 2009 water cooler, which is our new name for the virtual user group. You are not here, you are virtual, so therefore it is the virtual user group. Today we are going to talk about using colors in the calendar in PracticeMaster. And Mary Jo is going to take that topic and she's going to explain the different ways to use color and how to set that up. And I am going to talk about getting time and costs into Tabs3 without using the entry screens. So I'm just going to go over some other methods that we've discovered to get stuff into Tabs so that you can bill it. But Mary Jo is going to start, so I'm going to turn over the podium to her, and she'll talk about color in the calendar. Mary Jo?
Hi, everyone. Okay, today I'm going to talk about two different ways that you can use color in your calendar to enhance the viewing and just make events easier to find. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into PracticeMaster, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the daily calendar. And right now there are some events in here, and you can see they're all in green. And we can change these, and we can do it two different ways. You can show the colors by user, so every user can have a different color, and therefore any events for Ron would be one color, and Kim would have another color, and Dan would have a third color. Or you could do it by calendar code. So if you had a conference, could be red, and partner meetings could be blue, things like that, so that then when you look at your calendar, you're seeing certain events in a certain color. Paul and I use ours that way. When we have online training, it's red. If we have, different things for each of us, it's a different color. So we have different ways that we show things on the screen. So to do that, I'm going to show you how you can go back and forth and create these. So for example, we're going to go on out of here, and we're going to go ahead into Setup. And the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is to do it by calendar code. So we're going to go ahead and click on the calendar codes in the Setup tab. And you can see some of these already have colors assigned to them. Right now I see answer to complaints due. Those are yellow. Attend is green. I'm going to go ahead into birthday. And to assign a text color, you go right in here under the calendar code, and it has an event color. And I can do the drop down, and I get a background and a text color. And it shows you certain boxes, but if you need more than these colors or would like something different, all you do is click on the other, and it brings you the whole spectrum. So if somebody in your office likes light pink and somebody wants hot pink, you can change the different colors of pink or blue or green or whatever. So you can go ahead and you can add, if I clicked on the greens, you can see I've got different ranges of green. And then once I pick whatever color it is I want, I can go ahead and add it to my custom colors, and I can choose that custom color to be the color for birthdays. If I want the text to be white, I could change it. I could change it to any color over here. So that's how you can customize each individual calendar code. So I'll go ahead and say OK, and then I'll save it. And now when I create, when I change my properties to say that I want this by, let me go back into calendar. On my calendar properties then, I have a choice that I can say I want to see event colors that are based on user ID, or I can see event colors based on calendar code information. Right now, it's already set to do the event colors on calendar code information. So I'm going to say OK. I'm going to go into my daily calendar, and I'm going to go ahead and create an entry that has the birthday code, and you'll see that it'll show up in green. And I'll just save that. Whoops, have to put it on somebody's calendar. Put that on Anderson, and then we'll go ahead and we'll save that. And now,
You didn't have an end date or an end time.
Oh, let's see if we can make a calendar entry here. All right, let's go to birth date. And I'm going to go ahead, that's why I need to have it be an event. And we're going to go ahead and say that it's my birthday from 8 to 5. It's not letting me get in here. What are we doing here, Paul? Let's give it to Jason. not allowing an end date for an event. There it is. I just didn't wait long enough.
You're being impatient.
I am being very impatient. There we go. 8 to 5 is my birthday. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And now you can see that my birthday's in green, or Jim's birthday's in green, whoever. So that's how you can do it by calendar code. So if I wanted to do it by user, if I view multiple people's calendars every day, it's not just mine, I'm seeing all, and I want to see every user have a different color, I can go in and I can set that up in system configuration. And I can go under, and it's under each user. So I'm going to go ahead and click on System Configuration. I'm going to come into the user screen, and then I can say, okay, here's Paul, and I can make him a color. And right now he's blue. It's showing he's blue with white, so I can keep him blue. I can go down to the next person, and I can say Robert is going to be, he's set for gray. I can change him to green if I want to. Save him. Again, everybody in here, we can go ahead and set a specific user color. Okay? And again, if the color isn't shown, you can hit the other button, and then you can go ahead and change the text color as well. And you can set each user to have what color you want to show on the calendar. Once I've done that and I've saved all my users, then I can go back into my calendar properties. And now I can change it to show me the event colors based on user ID. So I'll check that box, and I'll say OK. And now when I go in the daily calendar, you can see everybody has their own color by user. Okay? So I find the user is more helpful when you're viewing a lot of people's calendars at once and you want to try to distinguish whose calendar is whose. And then the calendar code is useful if you don't have that many users and you just are viewing, maybe one attorney's or yours, and you just want to see what the codes are. And you can always go back and forth between. So if you want to see, one view one time and the next time just change it, calendar properties, and then you can see either or at your will. Any questions?
Actually, we haven't told them how to ask questions, so I'm going to interrupt.
Oh.
And I'm going to go over here. It's the one thing I knew I had forgotten to add to my taskbar. But hey, I'm only human. And hopefully it's in here where I expect it to be. And of course, it's not. So we're just going to pretend we know what we're talking about and not show the picture. You have a blue box over here that contains the dashboard and control panel for GoToWebinar. Jutting off to the side of it is a smaller blue box that has several icons. The one at the top is an arrow that points to the right. You can slide that blue box out of the way by clicking on that arrow that points to the right. On that same little box that juts out to the left of the larger box are icons for asking questions and for raising hands. So the hand-raising one looks like a hand, and I'm not quite sure. Oh, if you open up that box, there's a place to type a question that we'll see. So I see we don't have any questions. While people are thinking of whether or not they have questions, Mary Jo, I'm going to put you on the spot because that's what I like to do. I'm going to go back here and go into Calendar Properties, and I'm going to ask you, where's Calendar
Right here.
Properties?
Right here.
Right there, thank you. This, Mary Jo, is this user-specific or machine-specific?
This,
No?
that is, I believe that is,
I think it's machine-specific.
I think it's machine-specific as well.
So I'm going to throw something out there. The person or people who want to see this by color of the person, in other words, Bob's red, Joe's yellow, Jim's green, that's going to be the receptionist or anybody who's scheduling appointments. Mm-hmm. Attorneys and paralegals, on the other hand, might want to see court appearances as red and client meetings as yellow and whatever other colors they have for different types of meetings. So the secretaries and receptionists that are scheduling appointments might want to set this to show it by user ID, while the attorneys and paralegals might want to set it to show it by calendar code. And then they have these two different perspectives. The one that is looking at everybody's calendar trying to see when everybody's available or certain people are available might want to see it by people. But the attorneys may want to have the red ones jump out as being hearings and the yellow ones jump out as being client meetings. So that's something that I think is really cool, is that you can, we're pretty sure you can set these.
Yeah,
and I'm going to hold
I
you to
am
this, Mary Jo.
No, I am too, because if you want to see your task list in a certain way, you come in here and you set your calendar properties.
Right.
So this is by, what computer you're on.
And honestly, I had never thought of that until you came in here, that you could actually, the one person, if you have one person that does all your scheduling, it's the receptionist, and she takes the incoming calls. She or he should have this set by user ID so that they see it that way. That's
very true.
Yeah. Aren't I brilliant?
So you're just wonderful,
So
Paul.
Jonna was right the other day when she said I was a genius. The other thing I want to point out is that we here at Attorney Computer Systems, we mix and match, but we don't do it this way where you have one perspective and the other perspective. We have our calendars show either red for training, yellow for client meetings, and all other entries are either using a calendar code that identifies Mary Jo or one that identifies me, and therefore Mary Jo has her own color and Paul has his own color, unless it's training or client meetings. Those have special colors. So we've kind of combined it to where we use calendar codes, colors
user events as
for
well.
special things. Exactly. So we kind of, everything other than client meetings or training, which are always red or yellow, we have a color for Mary Jo and a color for Paul to show all the other stuff that's on the calendar. So you can mix and match, or you can do it one way, or you can do it the other, or you can have this new way that we just thought up, that where you can have different perspectives based on what the person's doing. Now I do see one hand raised
for Ann. Ann, did you want to unmute her, or do you want me to?
Yeah, Ann, I'm going to send you the audio pin. So if you want to be unmuted, you need to enter that in your phone. It should be showing up right now on your screen. And frantically trying to figure out where to put this code. And I think what you do is the code that I just sent you, you plug it into your phone, punch it into your phone. So if it was
hit the pound sign.
And then hit the pound sign. And she's not getting unmuted. So that means Tom is sitting behind her. Tom, the senior partner, is sitting behind her going, come on, Ann, put the right code in. Let's go. It's almost like I'm sitting in the office and can hear this happening. Okay, I don't see her unmuting herself. So Ann, if you want to type that question in, or if you unmute yourself later, I'm going to go ahead and put hands down. And so Ann, if you get yourself unmuted, raise your hand again, or if you want to type the question in, we'll take it that way also. Any other questions?
Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Paul. He's going to talk to you about time.
Yep. The other thing we're talking about today is how to get stuff into tabs, time and costs, that is, without having to have tabs on that machine, or without having users going into tabs to do it. And there are a lot of reasons to do this, and we'll explore them. First thing I'm going to talk to you about is we do have a remote entry program that is available for Tabs3. It's called Tabs3 Remote. When you get it set up and loaded on a machine, it provides the user with a fee entry screen. So I lied. We are actually going into the screen, but it's not the screen in Tabs. It's the screen in Remote. So if you have users in a different office that don't have a remote connection to your main office, or we have some clients still that use Remote just to keep people out of Tabs, I don't think that's the best way to do it. There are other ways to keep people out of the wrong places in Tabs by using the password protection and the user access constraints. But some people have it just on their network, so people go into Remote. And basically,
Paul, I'm going to stop you for just a second, because Ann's question, she's not hearing anything. So I'm not sure if it's just her, or if I'm going to can you lower the hands, and then let's anybody that I guess.
I think all hands are down, right?
Yeah. If you can't, I don't know how to do that.
If you can
hear us, if you can hear us, raise your hand.
Kathy,
I think everybody else can hear, so it might just be
Kathy's got her hand up, which I think means Bill, raise your hand. Todd, there you go. Okay, so people are raising their hands. Thank you, everyone.
Sorry about that. I don't know what.
Well, Ann, you can't hear me, so I'm not going to tell you what we'll do. Mary Jo, while I'm talking, will you send her a message that says we'll send her a link to the recorded webinar?
I sure will.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and put everybody's hands
Yeah.
back down. And I'll go on babbling. What was I babbling about? Remote entry. So if you have a need to have people entering time or expenses without them being in tabs, either because they are distant from you, they're in a different office, or we do have one client that actually has 2 different networks. So they have the attorneys on one network and tabs on another, don't ask me why, and they have remote over on the other side. So if you have that need, remote is there, and that's an available product. Other reasons, we have a client that we've just started working with in Indianapolis, and I think they're here today. They simply have attorneys putting their time into a timesheet in Word or Excel, and we're going to move that to just being Excel, and I'll show you why in a second. And this gives their accounting department the control to change certain words. That certain clients like to see things described a certain way, and with apologies to all attorneys that are listening, attorneys don't tend to follow those instructions nearly as well as the people in the billing department do. So they want to be able to massage the time before it goes into tabs. Other firms that are, of a larger size, they like to sometimes not have the time in tabs until they're ready to do that month's billing. They don't want it filtering in from attorneys that are entering it directly. They want it to all come in at the same time. So there are reasons to have attorneys entering time into, let's say, a spreadsheet and then pulling that spreadsheet in. Now, since I'm not telling you what the firm is that is currently doing it this way and wants to automate the process coming in, they are currently putting it into Word or into Excel, and then printing. The attorneys are typing it in, then they're printing it out, putting it in front of a person in the accounting department who is then retyping it. And when I heard that, I said, well, why are you doing that? Because in PracticeMaster, and I know some of you don't even know what PracticeMaster looks like and don't have it. Some of you do. But most of you probably know, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you that you have a free copy of PracticeMaster Basic that comes with every version of tabs that is out there. And they do it as a teaser to try and get you to look at it and say, "Roller, this is really cool. I'm going to buy more licenses." But with that free license or with one of the regular licenses that you're already using, you have the ability to import data. And if you go into the Import Data Wizard and poke around, you will find that the fee and cost files are 2 of the files that you can import data into. So if you have data in a file, and by the way, if you have this data in a spreadsheet, let's say an Excel spreadsheet, you can save it as what's called a CSV file. And as long as it's got the client number and the transaction code and the description and the hours, it can be pulled in. And really all you do, I'm not going to actually show you how to do that. I'm just going to point you in the right direction. You can pull a file in. Well, we don't have a file, so you can pull a file in and then say, well, this field goes here, and this field goes here, and this field goes here, and this field goes here. So you can set up your file to contain the fields that are absolutely necessary, and then set up what we call an import definition that matches up those fields in your file that you're entering the time into with the fields in the actual fee file, so that things go to the right place, and then you pull it in. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is as easy as pie. It's probably going to take us a couple hours with this one client that we're going to do this for to get it all set up and massaged and to the point where everybody's comfortable with it. But once that's done and we've saved the data definitions, pulling in that time will simply be a matter of running this routine like clockwork when the time comes at the end of the month to pull in the time for that month's billing cycle. So again, it's really a matter of having the attorneys enter it into something that can be pulled in. We're switching those that are using the Word document out of that mode because we can't very easily work with that as a data file, if you will. But if we have them entering it in Excel, we do have the capability to save that in a format that can be pulled right into tabs. Now, to give you another example, my father and brother are patent attorneys, and somebody that used to work with them started his own firm, and they have grown to be a rather large IP firm in Toledo, and they do business with something called computer packages, annuities, something like that. Basically, patent attorneys will maintain trademarks and copyrights, and I believe patents, don't quote me, it was a long time ago that I worked in that environment, in foreign countries. And they will typically, especially a large firm, will hire a company to maintain these annuities, to keep these foreign registrations. I might register attorney computer systems, which I haven't, but we won't go there, and also want to register it in France and Germany and Norway, and I almost said England, so I was stretching for countries that are really countries. And then I would need to pay maintenance fees, not only in the United States, I believe, but also in foreign countries, to maintain those and keep those trademarks or copyrights or patents active. This company gets bills from this computer packages company that is maintaining all their clients' foreign registrations that are literally hundreds of pages long and literally contain thousands of entries for which they are being billed. Now, they have gotten this company to submit this to them as a CSV file, which is a kind of an Excel spreadsheet file, with all the right information. They store with each case that they open up the actual case number from Tabs, which is an important part. And then every month they pull that in, and literally thousands of fees that need to go on different clients, different matters, bills, come into Tabs in a matter of about 1 or 2 minutes. So using the data import routine that is available to you in PracticeMaster, which you already have, whether you know it or not, you can pull in fees or costs as long as you get the data into the right format and as long as you get it set up to work right the first time and then use it that way every time after that. Now, in a little one-attorney firm or two-attorney firm where you got the attorneys already entering time into Tabs, it's not a big deal. But there are firms where there are great needs for being able to enter fees or enter costs directly into Tabs without having to go through that screen. So this is one way to do that. And the last thing that I'm going to show you is something that we've just started working with. We actually helped this company to develop the interface between this product and Tabs3. And originally, this is what it did. I'm going to show you it, and then I'm going to tell you about what the next version does. And this is a Blackberry Simulator, so it's basically a piece of software that's acting like a Blackberry. And I'm going to call my buddy down in Van Wert, Al Runser, on my fake Blackberry. And I'm going to simulate that Al answers the phone. And we are now connected to Al, and we're talking about whatever it is we're talking about. Maybe I'm helping him with this PracticeMaster project, since from this perspective it's me that's going to be billing this. And I'm going to disconnect now because we're done. And you're going to see a little activity up here, right here, I believe. And then we're going to get what we call pop screen. And this pop screen is something called Work Tracker. Work Tracker loads up on handheld devices, Trios and Palms, Blackberries, Windows mobile devices, virtually any handheld device. And before anybody asks, not the iPhone, because Apple doesn't let anything run in the background on an iPhone, and because Apple also does not allow developers of software to have access to applications. So they aren't able to write this application to work on an iPhone yet. We're hoping that that'll change. And what it's doing is it's saying, I recognize that number. That's Al Runser. And I know that you spent 16 seconds on the phone with him, and I know that you bill in tenths of an hour, so that's the nearest tenth of an hour. And I know that you've set me up for this matter to be billable when you make a call. And I know that the matter in question is actually 13241.00. That's the Tabs3 client number. And here's a place for me to type whatever it is that I want to type as a description for this call. And when I'm done, I click Done. And Work Tracker, in the background, now that I've said, yeah, I want to build that, sends this to a portal that lives on the web where it stays for a couple minutes until a computer in your office where Tabs is running wakes up and checks with the portal to see if there's something new and sees that there is and pulls it into Tabs seamlessly and instantaneously. So this is another way to get time into Tabs by implementing a product like Work Tracker that's going to prompt you to bill the calls that you make or receive on your BlackBerry or the emails that you send or receive on your BlackBerry, and then automatically and instantaneously put that into Tabs for billing purposes. Now I've got a different copy of PracticeMaster loaded up here, and I'm not actually going to show you it coming in because there's nothing to it, it just happens, but here's an example of what that would look like. Not many of you know, some of you know, some of you don't. You can actually see fees from Tabs in PracticeMaster. So although I'm in PracticeMaster, this is a fee entry that's going into Tabs. And this is the description. This is what's called a comment. I don't know if everyone knows that you can have comments in your descriptions in Tabs, but you can. They show up as red, and in Tabs itself, I believe they show up as struck through, like a struck through text in a Word document. And those are things that will not print on the bill, but will actually print on the work in process reports or the draft bills. Really kind of handy things. And we use them in Proximity software to identify that it's a time entry that came from Proximity, when it was, the date and time, what it was a call, whether it was inbound or outbound, and what phone number. And this is for tracking purposes, but it's not something that shows up on the bill. Now, Proximity is headed toward another product, or a new version of this same product, that will also keep track of everything you do on your computer. And in fact, they already do this to a certain extent because they have Work Tracker buttons within Outlook. Of course, we already have buttons where you can take an email and send it to the fee file instantaneously, so it's kind of the same thing. But Work Tracker is going to, in its next iteration, which is version 3.0, allow you to actually have it monitoring everything you do on your desktop, the documents you're working on, the cases you have open in PracticeMaster, and timing everything you do and capturing every little bit of your day. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to bill everything, but you can go to Work Tracker's portal and see which items it captured, and when it's in this new iteration, it'll capture everything you do on your computer, not just what you do on your smartphone, and get it into Tabs 3 instantaneously. Once you say, yeah, I'm going to bill for this, I'm going to bill for this, this I don't want to bill for, this I do. And once you do that, bam, it's in there. So it's just another way for attorneys and paralegals and anybody that's billing their time to capture this time and get it into Tabs without them having to actually physically remember to record it and get it into Tabs themselves. That's a quick overview of the 3 different ways that we know of, other than Tabs, to get time and costs into Tabs. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, hold on.
I think I see Laura, but Laura does not have a...
Yeah, it does. Go ahead, Laura.
Oh, I might have undone
Yeah.
that.
Go ahead, Laura. Down here to question.
I just went ahead and sent it.
Oh, okay. She's asking, is the Work Tracker a part of PracticeMaster or an additional cost?
Work Tracker is a separate product from a company called Proximity.
Okay.
It sells for, starting at 1 to 4 users, or is it 1 to 5, it starts at $29.95 per user per month. And it's something that goes on their machine or on their smartphone, and also will hook into a regular office phone system to capture calls that are made and received there. But it's a per user per month subscription-based service.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Well, I didn't know if it was part of the newer versions of PracticeMaster or not.
No, it's not. It's a separate product, and this is kind of where we envision. STI has supported syncing of handhelds for quite some time, but and so do other products, Time Matters and Amicus. But in our product and in the other products, it's still a cumbersome process. It's a sync. You know, you get your contacts and your appointments out to your smartphone. This is the same technology that we see coming in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, I'm not sure when, to actually take other data and get it out to those smartphones. So this this new technology that allows us to use the internet to transfer information seamlessly is what's going to help us also to get it out going the other way as far as calendar and contact information.
Okay. All right.
Another, I don't know if this question, have you answered this? How would I learn how to get our contacts out of the attorney's smartphone?
Well, the PracticeMaster, the Work Tracker product, which needs to have, you saw that it knew who Al Runser was, and it knew which case this is. It goes in and grabs all your cases and all your contacts from related parties, if you happen to be using PracticeMaster, and puts them into your smartphone already in a way that Work Tracker can then use them to help you link up calls that you're making with people to be billed. So if the question that you're asking is, how do I make my smartphone know who Al Runser is when I call him, that happens automatically. When we install Work Tracker on the computer that's going to be pulling the time in, it also manages putting those cases and those clients and those related parties, if you're using PracticeMaster, out into your smartphone so that they're there for the identification of phone calls.
But currently, we have the ability to sync PracticeMaster to Outlook.
Right.
And then Outlook can go out to the smartphone.
That's correct. And that's more for the purpose of having your appointments and events and your contacts in your smartphone right in the directories and right in the calendar. And that's what I'm talking about Proximity being able to do in future releases where it's actually doing that real time.
Okay.
Because right now you have to sync PracticeMaster to Outlook.
Which I don't know how to do. Is that easy or not?
It's something that we can help you do.
Okay.
It's a matter of going into utilities or maintenance and setting it up. It's the kind of thing that you probably want to get help doing. Mary Jo and I just dealt with an attorney that we just switched him from Time Matters to PracticeMaster. We said, don't let David do anything with his phone until we get it set up. And David came in and said, oh, I know what I'm doing. And he synced his phone and he duplicated every event that was in the system because of the way he did it.
So I would need to contact you separately.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing you probably want to get some help doing. Now, if you have maintenance and you feel nerdy, you can call STI. They can help you too. But it is the kind of thing you want to really understand before you jump into. But it is possible to merge, to link up and sync up PracticeMaster to Outlook, and then Outlook can sync to virtually any smartphone, including an iPhone.
Okay.
And that's a way of getting your contacts and your events and your clients out of PracticeMaster so that they can also be on the smartphone.
Okay.
And that's what I was saying, that later on, Proximity will do real time, because now it's a sync. Now you have to hook up your smartphone to your computer so that this information will come out. And if there's anything in, if we synced last Friday, and then on Monday somebody made 2 more appointments for me, and then today I'm sitting in Judge Smith's chambers, and he says, what are you doing next Tuesday? I'm not going to see those 2 appointments somebody made on Monday because my last sync was Friday.
Yeah.
When Proximity comes out with the ability to do this real time, if somebody made an appointment for me 10 minutes ago and I pulled out my smartphone in Judge Smith's chambers, I would see that appointment.
You would see it.
Know.
Okay.
Right.
Cool. All right.
More questions, Mary Jo?
That's it.
That's it? No lawyer jokes? Don't see any lawyer jokes? Okay. Well, that concludes then our August 2009 water cooler virtual user group meeting. We will see everybody next month, where usually I would insert the topics, but Mary Jo and I were so rushed today with other stuff that we forgot to pick our topics for next month. So as everybody knows, we'll send an email the week before with information on that. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.